What is up, everyone? Happy Friday. My God, isn't it a good day to be alive, to be here on Friday? It's nice and sunny over here in Rio de Janeiro. I'm with John Fialkowski, and he helps professionals to really just build a life and career that they're proud of in a basic sense. But what I really like about John is that I've worked with many career coaches in my career, over the past 4 or 5 years or so. At least a good 15, 20 career coaches. But like John, like you see his profile and you read his content, and it's just a refreshing real take on what it means to be a person in an organization that has a job and has a life and is trying to navigate these waters of, am I really doing what I should be doing, what I like to be doing? How do I deal with these people that I have to work with on a daily basis? How do I go about advancing my career? Do I even want to advance this career? How should I handle my emotions? How should I handle talking to this person that I have a problem with? So I just love, John, what you're doing. That is so much more than just, hey, I'm a career coach and I'm going to help you get your next job in 90 days. And like, here's this stupid 10-step program that's going to help you do that. It's just about like being real life, being a real person, and like making a better life. So anyway, hi John, how's it going?
Hi. You grabbed me up with the 90 days because there's something that really bugs me about coaching. The coaching world, it just drives me crazy. And I live in this thing, right? I live in the world of people who have $1 million solution at your fingertips all the time. Um, I had somebody reach out to me for the podcast, and she immediately told me how much money she made with her system and how I should get involved. And I immediately rolled my eyes and thought, what really bugs me about all this is that it's 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 a luxury product developed for people who can who probably don't already need it. And
Mm.
and it just sort of disempowers people at the same time. And I've always thought, like, there's so many people out there who have just been frustrating themselves over these little details, these little limiting beliefs, these little everything. And if they could just understand where their power lies, and they could start to make the moves that would allow them to move forward in their lives.
Mhm.
So, but I think it's a little bit more complicated than just applying a system that someone tells you to apply, right? You have to know what you want, and that's not exactly easy to admit, oddly enough. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's the basis of what I do, is finding that power within you, or to actually take control of your career and thus your life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So then the
Sorry, I
next
threw you
question
off there,
is,
but
no, that's a
yeah.
good, that's perfect because then the question obviously is like, how do you go about helping people find that North Star and what it is that they want to do? And, like it was, along with working with lots of career coaches, I've worked with lots of leadership and executive coaches. And one of the,
Mhm.
the big things, it's like every coach has got a personality assessment. They got the discs and you got the Hogans and strength finders, and people come up with their own thing.
Yeah.
And, I love the personality assessments. I learned a lot, I've learned a lot from, kind of, I always feel like I'm reading this stuff and then like, I'm like, oh my God, this is just like me. This is amazing. But then I feel like I don't actually do anything with it. Like it never sticks with me. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, okay, like cool. So I know that's a part of a lot of people's processes, and it's like that's the missing piece. Is you just gotta, discover your strengths, man. Discover like what aligns you and lights you up, and then go do it. But yeah, I feel like there is something more. So yeah, what is your approach to helping somebody find that? Like, what are others missing that you fill?
Uh, well, I don't know what they're missing, but
Okay.
I can say that I look at the Myers-Briggs thing too. I'm not an expert. I don't really know much about it, and I'm kind of like, all right, it's an algorithm that figures you out based upon what you're saying. I find that to be a really interesting place to start because I want to know what people are saying, right? Like, how do you present yourself to the world? And then once we've presented that, or we get to see it back at us, we know we can start asking like, okay, what's missing? And then to there, I ask these. I just want to do this exercise where we determine our personal needs, and it's not necessarily so you got like your things that you can write down on the whiteboard and it's clear and it's obvious, but we can break down what's actually important to you and what you're getting versus what's distracting you or making you feel like, oh, I should be doing this even if you don't really care, or you're getting bothered by the gossip that's not important. I don't know, whatever it might be. And again, everybody's got a different hang up. They have a different approach, or they are like a different, maybe it's a thing that's getting in your way. So we have to really determine what that might be. A lot of time it's just sort of, I don't think that I can, or I don't think I'm worth it, or I don't think the people that I'm working with are worth it. So we have to spend a lot of time listening and asking lots of questions in order to start to highlight it. Because ultimately, I'm not telling you what's wrong with you. I'm merely reflecting what you already know. And that's I think that that's the method to get through the nonsense. So that the other side, you can start to say, like, or so you can start to do and enjoy the things that you need to do to get the job that you want, to communicate with people the way you want to be the leader that you might want to be. That's because I think we already know, like, we already know how it's not hard to get the way to get a job. It's all there on the internet. It's all obvious. It's a matter of doing it, though, and doing it in a way that makes you take joy in it and not be so hateful about it, like that, because nobody enjoys the process. And I think we should enjoy the process. It's a process of opportunity, not a process of like making each other miserable. So I want to figure out if we can unlock that in people. And when you really determine what's important to you and versus what is just the nonsense collected over a lifetime, it gets a lot easier. And then having the coach there to hold you to account, to push you forward, to highlight the things that are wrong, and then to help you fill in the blanks when you're just start to feeling anxious and overwhelmed about it. So is it a defined process? Yeah, it is, but it really goes off in multiple directions once you figure out who you're talking to. I think treating people the way that they want to be treated, as opposed to slotting them in one slot or another, because we're all pretty unique individuals, right? So
well, how do you know? I mean, we all know what to do. We all have ambitions, and we all would love this perfect life, and we'd love to have a different career that we love that's perfect, and we'd all love to say F you to our boss and stuff like that. But I've got kids. I've been in this company for 5 years, and I got people that I like here, and I don't actually know if I can get that job. And yeah, I'm discontent and happy. So I guess it's two things. Like, what are there signs? Are there signals of when it's okay? Does that even matter? Are there signals that it's okay when it's like, hey, I need to make a change? Is that part of the okay? Like, you can sit with me and you can say, all right, it's probably time for you to make a change. And if that is that the case or not? And besides that, what is the biggest thing that's really holding someone back from being in that situation? Be like, no, I should go be an entrepreneur, or I should go get another job. Like, what have you seen there?
Okay. Describing that scenario that you said, I've got a job. It's okay. I like the people I work with. It's comfortable. That's a good place to be, right? And we're for a lot of people, that's the one that says, that should be the goal. You're going to line yourself up and you're going to be in a great place and all that stuff. Cool. but you're not feeling satisfied. Okay, well, what part of that are you not feeling satisfied? Like, that's what we need to figure out. Is it the people that you're working with? Is it the way you're managed? Is it the way that the company's culture expresses itself? Is it simply the fact that you aren't expressing yourself properly? I don't know what the answer is, but we need to figure that out. I do believe that the path to a great career starts where you are, right? And if you have a job and you love your job, or you love what you do, I'm not like the place, but if you have the job or something's not right, but you think there's potential, let's figure out what the potential is where you are, right? You don't need to quit to change your whole life, right? You don't need to tear everything down, but you do need to know what you want out of it, right? We can't expect you can't expect your boss, no matter how good they might be, to know how to read you, know how to figure you out, know how to manage you properly. You have to teach them. And if you learn how to teach people how to treat you, they can start to treat you that way. So when
Whoa,
you
that's
get
pretty
to that
there.
stage where your basic needs are met, right? And you feel like, okay, I feel like I am becoming more motivated, I'm becoming more effective. You can start to ask more questions about where you might want to go from here. And if you could define where you might want to go, you can start telling people where you want to go. You can start opening up opportunities. You can start looking for the people that you want to talk to or work with or whatever. But again, you got to know what you want, and you have to understand what the risks of change are versus the pain of staying the same, right? So
Mm,
you might need help figuring that out. Some people don't need it; they're lucky. But other people, they do need it. They need it badly, um, and that's where I think a good coach can step in and highlight it and reflect back to you what you've been thinking all along. You just haven't been able to articulate it very well.
mm. So, yeah. So if I'm feeling uncomfortable about my
Mhm.
situation's fine. And this is probably the most dangerous situation of anyone in the world ever is the comfortable mediocrity that it's like
Yeah,
it's just okay enough that I don't like have to go. It's not like I'm in this dire situation where I need to get out or my life's going to be threatened or something. It's like things are just good enough and I'm where I'm supposed to be because this is where the majority of maybe everyone is. Everyone's what's this quiet desperation kind of idea. And that's just how things are. And that's the way life is supposed to be. So, you know what? Maybe this is okay. But I think there's so many people in the world that they have that quiet, the desperation. They're like, yeah, I know this is how it's supposed to be, but I know that more is achievable. But is that for me? Is that right for me? Like, can I do that? And I love this work that you're doing because we got to help, yeah, more people realize that it is okay. We can live this life of like full satisfaction. Not like full satisfaction. Life is always difficult and we're always
yeah,
facing challenges, but that's part of the satisfaction.
yeah,
Facing challenges and hardships, that's part of what makes life great. But I mean, my path was entrepreneurship. I remember like the first real job I had as a 9 to 5 job. I got there and then the first day my boss gives me this like packet of information to read through and I get through it in about 3 hours and I say, all right, boss, like what do I do now? I said, I don't know, just do some more research for like the rest of the day, do whatever. And I'm like, there's like 6 more hours of the workday here. And
yeah,
you mean I have to just sit here for 6 more hours and just like do whatever? And that's when I
yeah,
really realized for the first time that like, man, so this is what it means to have to be locked into this place that you don't really want to be. Like I don't want to do this for much longer. But this is, the reality of a lot of people. And it's so what a blessing it is to have a job that you love. Like to me, I think your work is the most important thing of your entire life. Like we got to help people like love their work because we spend so much time doing it.
yeah,
So I think circling back this question of um, how so it if we know what to do, if we know what it takes to get a better job, to do the search, to find what we love, if we can even have the capability of finding for ourselves the North Star, is it a 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 mindset thing? Can only certain people have the courage and guts to go do it? Like, how difficult of a change is this to make? If we already know how to do it, why don't more of us do it?
I think it's tough. It's tough to look at it from your perspective, right? You're an entrepreneur. You chose yourself out of a crowd, right?
Mm,
And that's something that you did because you see yourself as an individual. Like, what you moved to Brazil, didn't you not? Like,
yeah.
you said, I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to move to another country. I'm going to do lots of things. This is the kind of person that you are. Like, you're not satisfied with the status quo. That's your nature.
Mm,
We You found a way to do that for yourself, and that's cool. Like, I like that. It's not for everybody though, so we can't look at that as our baseline. When we
mm,
talk about that place that you are, where that discomfort is a four-letter word, right? You and I see discomfort as a four-letter word. That's just kind of our nature. For a lot of people, or like comfort, sorry, comfort is a four-letter word. Discomfort, scary, right? We like discomfort. Like, that's part of what we've embraced. We've made that choice to not work for somebody else, to do something different, like, and so on. But a lot of people, like, that comfort is the goal, right? Because their families are more important, or their, being able to go windsurfing or something. I think those are the things that are more important to them. We need to figure out how we're going to get them to that point of which thing is are most uh, important to them, right?
mm,
So I think it is possible for people to feel content in what they do. I don't think everyone's going to love what they do, but I think that you should be content, right? You should like what you do. You should like where you do it. You should like who you do it with. And if not, you need to take ownership of that problem, figure out how you're going to solve it. And that might be a new job. That might be better expressing yourself. That might be, uh, moving across the world. But, like, those are the, it's very important for people to be able to identify constructively what's not right in the mix, and to be able to look at your sunk like life costs rationally. Like, I've already put 5 years in this company. I can't move now, right? Like,
mm,
those are the sunk costs. You need to look rationally at them and say, well, is this one that is one worth one worth abandoning, or one worth keeping? Um, and we don't really know that until we can really articulate the problem and the vision, for lack of a better
mm.
word. Yeah.
So what happens for someone once they figure that out? Like, you take us through that process a bit more. Like, how, what is maybe, yeah, like, what does that mean? Like, how do you, yeah, help? I mean, you explained it a little bit, but
Hmm.
what is like the North Star, finding that what you want is kind of the biggest lever. So maybe what starts to happen, say, like, I'm in this situation, I'm in this kind of stuck place I don't want to be, like we've been talking about. Maybe once I do discover what I want, maybe how long does that process take? And then what starts to happen to me? How do I start seeing the world differently? What kind of actions do I start taking?
I think the transition, if you're open to it, I mean, you got to be mindful. Like, you've got to be open to it. But if you're
Mm,
open to it, the transition can happen quite quickly. Once you kind of figure out what you want within a month or so of doing the work, like, the the transition you go from saying I can't to maybe I can. And if you start saying maybe I can, then you start to go out and express what you think you might be able to do. I think a lot of people, they get uh like, everyone says, "Oh, you'd be so good at this," right? And you go, "Do you even know me?" But when you start to think like, "Oh, maybe I can," you can look at that and say, "Okay, well, what part of that is right?" You know what I mean? Like, which part of all of this is right? And I think I look back at me, and people always said, "Oh, John, you'd be such a good teacher. You should be a teacher." And I'm like, "I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to deal with parents. I don't want to deal with kids. I don't want to deal with all the crap." Uh,
mm,
but there's, "Oh, you'd be such a good teacher, John." But then, what part of the teacher might I be good at, right? Or might I actually enjoy doing? And the elevating people, yes. The telling a story, yes. The being part of growth, yes. Right? It took me to be able to see something out of all that, to be able to actually make something out of all that. So my goal is, when people articulate, hey, I want to be this kind of a person, or I want to be able to do this kind of a thing, or I want to enable myself to see it, that people can start to recognize opportunities when they come along, and they're not just saying no. I can no. They're just not just dismissing them out of uh, reaction or out of instinct, or whatever that may be. So if you start to open yourself up to opportunities, you start creating more opportunities. It isn't rocket science, right? You start to talk to people. The best ideas come from other people. The best way to get a job is through networks. It's not through sitting there torturing yourself on LinkedIn. It's not. It's through meeting people, making introductions, and telling them, hey, you know what I really would love to do, and maybe you can help me get there. But you won't do that if you don't start, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you won't do that if you think immediately, oh, why does anyone want to talk to me? I'm nobody. Like, nope, you will know, you will never. And that's where we as coaches, I think, can really open up those doors, because once we get there, you can provide all the resources in the world to help them, right? What's the kind of language I want to use in a job interview? What's the kind of things that I can give you, what to the resources, or the what maybe my connections can become your connections. All those things, those are that's when the doors come to something can open, and you can do those $1 million ideas that will actually get people to where they need to be, wherever that might be. Yeah.
I mean, this is resonating a lot for me, because in the work that I do with messaging and positioning and marketing, so like the problem I see again and again, coaches and consultancy types of people, is this underlying, like, I don't know exactly who I need to be talking to, and I hope this content that I'm putting out is reaching the right people, and I'm saying the right kinds of things that are going to reach them, and then also make them sales. And like, what exactly am I about, anyway? What is my differentiating factor? Like, am I being clear in what I'm saying? So like all these things that are coming up, and it's because there isn't that North Star there. They don't have what we call your messaging Bible, your sales narrative, your root cause, big idea, and unique mechanism. This ability to, hey, we want to go after like this kind of person, yes, but we want to tell the story of how we're solving these problems that others don't solve, and what our unique approach is to solving that problem. And here's exactly what our process is to help you get results. And so then it's like, when you have your narrative down and you know who you're talking to, then okay, now we call it your messaging Bible for a reason, because it's something that you go back to again and again and again. It's the blueprints for your content, for your ads, for your landing pages, so that you just know that what you're posting, what you're doing, is going to be through the right lens and the right filter. So it's like, it's so cool how this all this core, this identity, this my message, the what do I do, how am I different, who am I trying to serve, it seeps into everything in life. I think the most important thing, okay, yes, I mean, to me, the most important thing in my life, and that I think can apply to everyone, is the mission. Like, what is your mission in life?
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? And I don't think this just applies for entrepreneurs. Like for me, my mission is to spread good ideas. Like, it came to me as I was in college. I'm walking down the red bricks, and there's rainy Bellingham, Washington, and that's all of a sudden, when I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life as a sophomore in college, I got this lightning strike of spread good ideas. It was just such like a thing. And then that shaped my entire life up until then. I started a video production company with my friends, and I did marketing at the volunteer center of Whatcom County. And then, I worked for these other like type of things with video and marketing. And I just, I can't think of anything that's been more important that's directed my life, because everything that I do, the movies that I watch, the content I create, the way that I talk to people, it's about how do I spread good ideas to people? How do I make other people feel good? How can I communicate in a way that's going to be effective? And I don't know if I got lucky or what, but I study my ass off and work really, really hard to do all this too. But I want to help people do that too. How can we help people find, yeah, their mission and their North Star? And we all talk about it, but it's really the most important thing that's out there, I think.
I would say you got lucky that you figured that out that early, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be my age and not figure it out, and that's a thing, right? Like it's a very real problem. I think I figured it out, but I didn't understand it. I figured it out my 10, 15 years ago. And I realized that I wanted to be that missing piece kind of person. I want to be that keystone person. I want to be the person in which
Mhm.
ideas flow through. And I didn't understand it. I kind of thought, well, that meant that I was forever going to be in the service of others. But it's not servitude, right? It's it's uh it's making it's making things happen. Like it's making those, I don't want to say dreams come true because that's lame, but like it's making things action. Like you're being that person who allows these ideas to flourish. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, okay, I can take complex ideas, I can take a number of people's stories and issues or whatever and make them make sense. This might actually be a talent of mine. So where do I go with it? And then you kind of set your course based upon that. You know, my hope with people is to be able to give them that North Star, right? Like yours, like you want to spread good messages. Okay, how the hell do you do that? I don't know, but let's figure it out, right? Like
Yeah.
that's where you are. You know, it's a I think that the work transition, right? You know, we're 2026 now. We went like everyone's on ChatGPT doing the same messaging, right? It's obvious what is written by AI and what is written by a person. There are certain keywords that are just coming out and over and over and over, uh, which means we can all be very great at everything and also very generic. So how do you stand out at that point?
Mm.
Well, you stand out by uh, identifying what actually makes you move, right? It makes you, it drives you forward. And similarly, like if that's the case for jobs, and a lot of jobs can be replaced by a computer and so on and so on and so on, like what is your value, or where do you fit in the mix? Well, you have to create a position out of all of this, right? You have to be entrepreneurial about it, even if you're not going to be an entrepreneur.
Mm.
How do you do that? Well, truly understanding what moves you, and
Mm.
that's the key. I mean, does that work for everybody? No, because some people don't give a crap. Like a lot of people don't care, and that's fine. We we can help those people too. I mean, we work with them, or we can cheer them on, or whatever. But yes, you have to be entrepreneurial about the way you look at your life and your job. You do you if you want it to be, uh, if you want to see through your vision.
Mm. Can you give like an example of that, of like someone who's like been in that situation? Because I'm like curious too, because you talk a lot about like the kind of workplace dynamics of, how to kind of deal with other people, or like put yourself out there or communicate that unique value. Like, is there, or something, or like a situation you could think of
Yeah.
how someone could like in action, like how they did that?
I had a client. She was one of my first clients. I like this. I like her. She was like 28. She lives in Toronto. She did nonprofit work. It was like nonprofit theater work. Uh, when she started, she wanted to get a new job desperately. Like she's like, I'll do anything to get a new job. I hate my place. I hate my boss. I hate all this stuff.
Mm.
And when we started digging into what she was interested in, we learned that she was really motivated by dance and by making art. And it was interesting because she was in this environment that allowed her to dance, that allowed her to create art, that allowed her to create theater. and she was doing none of it. And the big question that came out of it, or the big statement that came out of it, was something that she said, which is, they don't deserve it from me. And I thought, well, I can totally see why they don't deserve it from you. But at the same time, is it about them or is it about you? Here you are already in the environment in which you should be able to do the things that drive you forward, and you don't even see it because you don't think they deserve it from you. And as we uncovered all these things, it was because she was self-conscious about this, or self-conscious, or they thought, oh, these people might be watching me, or they might be judging me, or like. And when you kind of started to break down those hangups, you realize that, well, do you actually care about that stuff? And the answer was no in her case. She didn't care. She just thought that these people didn't deserve her talents.
Mm.
When she started to turn that around and be able to say, what I'm really interested in is creating a space for people to express themselves through art and dance or music. In this case, she was interested in art therapy. And be able to say that like out loud to her colleagues, to her boss, to whoever, all of a sudden, everybody that she worked with, including her boss, who she hated through and through, was like, that's an amazing idea. Can you develop a program with that, around that, with us? Within a couple months, she's offered a new position. She's offered a lot more money. She's offered a job that she was really looking for, and never left the organization that she started with. Even though, but rewind to our first meeting, it would be anything but that. And I think that's really telling that, what you might perceive as a toxic environment, what you might perceive as some place that is so dreadfully awful and all, there are opportunities there if you can express what the opportunity you're looking for actually is. And in a way that inspires others too. I mean, like, no boss is inspired by giving you more money, right? But they will pay you if you've got something to give that's beyond what they could see for their organization, right? So she took the entrepreneurial model around that. Now, to get there, I actually made her write up a business plan around her own game. Or, what are you trying to vision, right? Business plan this for me. And when she did, she went, I could do this where I am. Yeah, good. Of course you can. And you can experiment with these ideas. You can build your connections. You can do all these things in a place on other people's money where you're not taking the risks, where you're creating something that's great. And then you're going to walk out of there ready to open your own game. You're going to have funding opportunities. You're going to have the connections in order to get those things. You're going to understand how the grants work. You're going to understand all that stuff in order to make your vision happen. That's a lot better than they don't deserve me, isn't it? I always think back at her because I'm so amazed on the transformation of a person over. It's not a long time.
Yeah, and I love how it's an internal transformation. It was a perspective shift of how she's seeing what she already has. Like, and I see this in the world all the time. There's so many people who are so resentful over where they are and what they have and what is happening in the world around them. I think most of this resentment comes from people not feeling like they have power, like they have autonomy, like they have choice, like they can make a kind of change, like they can make anything happen in their life, because there's so many other things that are holding them back and keeping them down, and they can't do it because they don't have power. And I see this with marketing too. And it's like, oh, LinkedIn doesn't work, content doesn't work, DMs don't work. I tried to put money into ads, marketing sucks. I hate marketing, it doesn't work. But if they did it the right way, if they knew how to do it, if they had their messaging and positioning nailed down, if they had their North Star, if they had the right system, you can make it work. And then all of a sudden you love marketing. All of a sudden you love that job. All of a sudden you love money when you know how to make it, but you hate billionaires when you feel like when you're stuck in a job that sucks and you don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Everybody's yeah, you you said it right on. Like it is really hard to be able to express your messaging. And if you're not willing to try, if you're not willing to actually reach out to people and well, not say reach out to people, like start to test the message with your friends or your coworkers, you know what I
Mm.
mean? To ask people like you, hey, what do you think of this? Sometimes the feedback is useless. Okay, cool. Sometimes it may not be useful for like another 6 months, but one way or another, like if you don't start that process of asking for help from the people that might actually be able to help you, or even from complete strangers, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you don't start it, how are you ever gonna how are you ever gonna figure it out?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like LinkedIn is an utter sewer. I hate it until it works, and then in case I'm like, oh, that was great, right?
Hey, yeah. God, I posted nothing. Fuck LinkedIn.
I,
That
but,
sucks. Somebody
yeah.
comes in the
All right.
DM.
Well, it's a long game. What didn't work? Okay, look at it. Like let's do
Well,
your A/B testing or whatever the things are, right?
yeah.
So
So tell me
yeah.
what you think about this. I think it kind of crossover here. So something that people get wrong with marketing, content, and sales is that they think, okay, I just need to post content and I'm going to get sales. Like this is the worst thing because there's so many content coaches, LinkedIn coaches, podcast redistribution, clip cutter coaches, and they all say if you just put out content, you're going to make sales. You're going to have an inbound pipeline. You're going to be booking all these calls, and if you just, you know, if you like post stuff or whatever. But really, the thing that I've found works and that I know works is that instead of posting and praying, it's starting conversations. It's talking to lots of people and making lots of offers. And thing
Yeah.
is, it is uncomfortable to do that. You are going to get a lot of rejection and you're going to get people saying like, why are you messaging me or whatever? I mean, and that's why you want to have something valuable worth giving. You don't just want to pitch slap people. You want to give them something, say, offer some value, but it is very difficult to spend your time and energy to start conversations every day and do that. It's very easy to go post like some random content every day and it's sinister that somebody is going to charge you thousands of dollars every month to be your content coach when that is not going to it's not going to make you money just posting content. It's not. So going into your side, how does somebody in the workplace, finding a new opportunity, having a career, how do they need to be putting themselves out there? How important is having conversations in for a situation like that?
I can't think of anything more important. I mean, you're right about the producing content for content's sake. You'll burn out. You'll hate it. There's no joy in that, right?
Mm.
Um, it's I think it's important to find your in, right? I'm incredibly shy as a person, right? And I don't like reaching out to people. I hate doing the email thing. I hate it. And it's a lot because like I get so many of them. I get 3 or 4 people a day, it feels like. And
Mm.
it's a 10-to-1 ratio between people trying to sell me something and people trying to buy something from me. That's something that is taking some time to wrap my mind around. However, if you can, as if you can figure out what your messaging is, or maybe if you can figure out how to connect with somebody, uh, you all of a sudden have power. What your entry point is. So for me, my entry point is my podcast. That is my entry point. It gives me a power to do things that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do. There might be a there might be my radio persona that's hidden, right? And that John can do stuff because it's my working John, right? It was the same as when I was working in retail or in hospitality before. I could do things that I wouldn't be able to otherwise do. That's my entry point to having interesting conversations with people, and that can lead to places that are satisfying. Honestly, it was much the same with you because your podcast kind of opened the door with this conversation better, and
Mm.
that having that moment in which I can recognize that this guy isn't like the rest of the people that are just throwing stuff at me, generic content that means nothing, and there's more to it than just having content for content's sake. So yes, coming back to it, like, you create content to have conversations. You don't create content to sell stuff, in my eyes. It's much like you go to a networking event. You don't go to the networking event expecting to make lots of money. You go to the networking event expecting to make a friend or contact or somebody who might be able to do something with you at some point. If you go in with that idea, you're going to have fun. If you go in expecting to sell something, you're going to be miserable. And it's not hard to draw a line between when you have fun and when you enjoy something, so that you do it more, that you will actually start to see results, as opposed to, I'm going to torture myself with the same process over and over and over till I go and I farm it out to somebody else who's not going to capture my message very well. Of course they do, which is awesome. But yeah. That's your question?
Yeah, well, that was great riff on what I shared there. But I was also curious about somebody, how would you coach someone in the workplace who's looking for those other opportunities? Like, what should they do as far as conversations go? Like, so what I think, I am also, I'm definitely like the introverted extrovert. Like, when I'm out, I love talking to, it's like, I don't love talking to people, but I'm very good at it.
You're well
And,
trained.
but
Yeah.
I don't like need to be around other people. Like, I like being by myself. I like working. I like that, really, I just go out these days because I'm looking for a wife. Like, that's my only motivation. And even then, I know I need to go out to have fun and not just to do that, because that's also very draining when I'm like, where's this like person I need to date? Like, God, I'm getting old. Like, what's going on? I'm going to die alone. I need to have kids. Like, all these things are happening. I can't be thinking about it. It is, right. That's going on in my head. But I mean, so it's like, what do you say to someone who does want to make a change in their life, in their career? They're in a place like this, but they're not like an extrovert. They don't love going out and starting new conversations and like having to put themselves out there and figure out like their unique value. Like, that just sounds like a chore. What do you say to them? How do you help them?
I think this is where the accountability portion comes in, because you do get to a stage where you've identified what it is you want to do, and you do get, and you know what you need to do, and we're all at that stage, and this is truly where the accountability of the whole thing comes in. We can find that entry point into whatever it needs to be, right? And that, and then make sure that they're actually going to do it. Now, having somebody on the outside who's going to remember that you're going to ask them whether or not you had some conversations is, as simple as it is, it's very effective for people, right? Because there is no excuses at the end of the day. I will ask you if you had some conversations with people, and I will say, hey, what did you learn? And if you don't have anything to give me, we don't have much of a session to move forward, because it's just not just me talking at you the whole time, right? And they all know that. And I set those very, very clear expectations going in. If you say you're going to do something, I'm going to hold you to it. That's number one, right? That's what a coach does. If you're a gymnastics coach, it's the same thing, right? They're going to make you do the things that you are uncomfortable with. Because your heart of hearts that you're going to get nowhere if you sit behind your computer all day long and hide, right? This. Everyone knows this. If you just keep doing the same thing, it's not going to happen. So we do use accountability. And it's not like I'm not gonna be a jerk, but it's just, I'm gonna ask you, so be ready.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly effective. I mean, really, when it comes to those simple things, like being a fourth grade teacher kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The accountability, especially when you're investing in a coach. Like you're putting money down for a coach to help you out, and it's like you're investing money and they're investing their time in you, and it's really going to be like a good push that you're going to actually take some action. That being said, I love the other part that you're saying here is this easy entry. So having an easy entryway point that feels natural is super super important for anything. Like when it comes to marketing, outreaches, dating. So two things on me. So we'll start with the marketing side. Like, a lot of people don't like sending direct messages, outreaches because it feels salesy, because it's like you feel like you're interrupting someone, like you're doing something wrong. But
yeah,
when you're when your outreach is something that's giving value, it totally changes the game. So like one of my first outreaches was I would say, hey, like, have you tried this? Have you tried, like, I like your content. Have you tried a story seller post before? And they ask, well, what is a story seller post? Well, it's a kind of post where you're combining your story and something that, that's going to lead someone to want to get onto a call with you or talk about your program or whatever. It's like, does that, have you tried that? They're like, no, I haven't really tried that. It's like, oh, well, it kind of works like this, and this. And, hey, if it's, I hope this isn't like too forward or inappropriate or whatever, but if you like, I'd love to get on a chat. I could explain more how you could do this. And this was something that, really worked for me for a long time. And it was that simple, but it was because I was really just leading with have you tried this thing? Like teaching somebody something valuable and new. And yeah, I still got ignored a lot and all of that. But it worked very, very well. And these days I'm sending, like, now that I have, Claude and AI and the ability to enrich data, because things, don't work. Like that method doesn't really work anymore. Now I'm sending out entire playbooks to people, like a website with different tabs with their
yeah,
messaging customized, like in this thing. Like when I send those out, it's like a piece of art to me, every time I send out one of these playbooks. And so I don't feel bad about that at all. And I still get people like, oh, what are you sending this for me? Did you make this with AI? That's not my business. And that's fine. It's okay.
yeah.
Now I've
I
done this with, yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, I ripped off that idea. So, I liked it. It was so
Nice. Yeah, and there's like all sorts of ways. So there's just different ways that we can approach putting ourselves out there. We just need an easy in. So one that's a little more on the I don't know. I don't, if maybe call this dark side, but I don't really think so. Is so, I live in Rio de Janeiro here, and there's just beautiful women everywhere. It's like every day I fall in love with a new girl walking down the street here. And I'm just like kicking myself because it's very tough to, like, I wish I could just talk to these girls. Like, why can't I just talk to one? Why can't I just say, like,
Mhm.
hey, how's it going? Like, how's your day or something? And I've tried that plenty of times and gotten rejected, or just like, no, what are you talking? But mostly it's just like everything, fine. But I thought there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to start this conversation. So I thought of this way where I said, I walk to the gym 3 times a week, and it's on the same path. And I thought, okay, so if I see someone, I'll say, hey, you work out at SmartFit, right? That's like the name of the gym. I go, you work out at SmartFit, right? And then they're kind of like, sometimes they'll say yes. Mostly it's like, no, not really. Oh, you look like, I thought maybe I recognized you, or so yeah, what is it you do? Are you like an artist or something? And then just like starting with questions. And it's made things, it's still very difficult and scary for me to, cold talk to a girl, but I'm out here. I gotta find a partner,
Yeah.
I gotta do this. And like in my mind, it's an urgency thing. It's like, I gotta find a job and get out of here. So anyway, having an easy in, I don't have accountability partner. I'm kind of just kicking my own ass if I don't do it. But there's my story. Uh,
Uh, yeah, you reminded me of like before the pandemic anyway. I used to travel a lot. I used to go to Asia a lot. Um, and I said I used to travel by Tinder. That was my joke. Because I would find people to hang out with, or to go on dates with, or to be my translator sometimes. And it was great. I mean, what different way of traveling than I'd ever done before, and I loved it. It was so much fun.
mm,
Because it was, yeah, I got to see something that I would never would have otherwise seen. No, I
So
went
what
in
do
with a
you mean
pretty
exactly?
relaxed attitude about it, and I didn't really
Yeah.
care about the
Like,
outcome. I just wanted to hang out with somebody. But I
so
ended up
travel by
making some.
Tinder though. What does
What's
that mean
that?
exactly? What does that mean exactly? Travel by Tinder. Like, is that how you're getting from country to country? Because you're meeting someone in another country and they're like, hey, and then you like, and then you
Uh,
go visit them, or what do you mean?
no, well, I'd get there. I mean, I travel by myself a lot, and I would get there, and then I would just look for people to hang out with.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm not all that interested in hanging out with like the. I want to hang out with people who live there, right? I don't want to hang out with the people at the hostel. I don't like hostels. I'm too old for
Yeah.
that anyway. But like, I want to hang out with somebody who's my age and like me and like wants to go out and have fun, right?
Yeah.
And or just get into an interesting conversation. Um, like it worked because I would end up then doing things with them. There was one when I would go back. I went back and saw her a few times. Like it was a really cool experience, and it was a way that I got to see that country, and I would have been able to do that on my own. And so I feel like I have a far deeper understanding of a culture than I ever would have had if I could just went to the like to the tourist destinations, I suppose.
Yeah.
Um, and then I mean, let's go to I got to go to Myanmar for free. Like, who gets to go to Myanmar for free? But like, it was purely because of her because she was working there, and I thought, oh, I'll go too. Why not? Uh, so I don't know if that was a goal or whatever, or a story. It was just me wanting to go hang out with girls, but it uh, it was a good part of my life.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But I did not. I wasn't going in and in hopes of finding a wife. That was the last thing I wanted. But it was like, anyway.
Well, I think this all leads back to this business career story. I mean, I loved how you said how like the way you framed all of that story of the like just want someone cool to hang out with that's local, that
Yeah,
wants to go out, that I can learn from. Like that's the attitude that a lot of people are missing in life in general. I think people close themselves off. They don't not even close themselves off from opportunities, but they just don't see the opportunities of life, like all these zesty experiences, opportunities that can come up when you're really just curious about people, when you ask people about what's going on in their life and you share about your life and you make connections between you and another person, then all of a sudden that's how you get invited to go to Myanmar for free with some cool girl. And then that's how you get that job opportunity because that person has a relative or somewhere doing something else and they like you and their skills. Like, how many just great things have happened in my life just because I've given people attention and love and they like me and then they invite me to do
yeah,
things. Like, that's just
yeah.
so awesome
I
part of life.
it took an embarrassingly long time for me to understand that about dating, and it took even longer for me to understand that about my career.
Mm.
And you know, I mean, I joke. I found my game in my mid-30s. Like that was when I found my game. Like before then, I just didn't know what to do. I had a bunch of friends that were girls. I owned a girlfriend for a long time. Like was with somebody forever. Like we lived together and everything. But like I just didn't have the game that I think that I should have had. I don't know. And career wise, it was the same thing. I was just going to fall backwards into a job. There wasn't a point to it. There wasn't intent to it. I was good at it, but I wasn't all that proud of the work that I was doing. Like there was all those things because I didn't create it. Right. And it wasn't my doing. I just fell into it. Um, you get, you get that, you get to have some control of your life and then uh it starts to produce a little bit of fruit. Like I don't know, I don't want to say these blanket statements, but like it's true though. When you take a little bit of control and you put a little intent behind it, you start to get things out of it. they might not always be what you want. They might not always be a good outcome, but you start to get things and things start to move and you start to learn some lessons, and you learn what not to say when you're on a date. You learn what not to say in a job interview. You learn, you know what I mean? You got
Yeah.
to be willing to suck at things
Yeah.
brutally. Yeah. Now, when I started doing my podcast, that was the approach that I did in order to make this work for me, because I found the process of transitioning from a job, which was fine, paid well, was comfortable, but it was boring, to working for myself, doing this sort of thing. It was very intimidating, and I started recording a podcast of it allowed me to think through my problems and look back at people who have done it too. And I'm not saying entrepreneurs. For me, it was looking at historical figures, because I'm like, I went to school for history, a bit of a fan of history, historian type
Mm.
guy, right? And so I would start my program off with a story about somebody who existed that was going through the same place that I was, or that had done something that seemed kind of unlikely, but I thought was amazing that they did that. And even if it wasn't a very good story or outcome, they did something, right? And I found that that's somehow inspiring, right?
Yeah.
And you build these. What I found is that by building the show, I was able to organize my thoughts, and by organizing my thoughts, I was able to express my thoughts, and then people started to show up
Mm.
because they wanted to be part of it.
Mm.
And well, you never really thought, like, I never thought that people would want to be part of a movement that I'd be creating. And it's a small movement, but it's something, right? And I wouldn't have done that if I expected to be good at it. I was perfectly willing to be awful. And in fact, I made the whole thing about me being awful at it. And gradually I stopped being awful at it.
Nice, man.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that's an inspiring story for the kids, but it's something to look back at and say, like, hey, if you stop being self-conscious about this kind of nonsense, you might actually achieve something, you know? And
Mm.
I have to remind myself that constantly, because I constantly want to be a perfectionist at it. And I said, I ripped off your idea. I looked at yours and said, Jesus, that looks
Mm.
good. Why does mine look like such shit? Well, yeah, because this guy's a marketer. He does this for a living. Don't expect to be as good as this guy when you've never done it before. But try it. Reach out to people with it. See what happens. Go back. Do it again. Ask for help. Maybe you actually pull something off. So, yeah, I don't know.
Mm. Man, that was a good riff right there. That
Was
was
that a
some
good
good.
riff?
That was good. I like that a lot. And I think that's actually going to be a perfect closer for us, because I don't know if you noticed, but my hair is out of control and I have a haircut scheduled for about 15 minutes here. So I've actually got to cut us off here. But
I
damn,
got a
John,
haircut on Tuesday, so I'm good. But yeah,
nice. Yeah, no, we gotta do this again, because I know we could keep going and go on some more. There's more things I wanted to ask, like about hiring, even too. Like I noticed you had an idea about like entrepreneurs and like in hiring and like
yeah,
growing your team. Like that's kind of
yeah.
some things that I've been going through and had some kind of bad experiences about that. Um, you know, Vulnerability, those ideas. We kind of covered a lot of the rest, but we got some other things to talk about. So, hey
There's
man, yeah.
always room for a part two. I mean, I can talk for hours about this stuff, so don't worry about that. You just let me know.
All right, yeah. So let's do it again. Um, okay, no, we better stop. We gotta better stop. That was it. That's all you get, folks. Better. We'll see
Yeah,
you next
Aaron's got to
time.
go look pretty now. So
Thanks a lot. I gotta get a haircut. I got a date on Saturday, so I gotta get my stuff together here. Wish me luck, everyone. Wish me luck. Thank you. Until next time. See ya.